could you introduce yourself the University of Brighton and the city?
Yeah, I think I'd start by saying that the University of Brighton is in Brighton, which is it's now a city which is on the coast of the south coast of England, about 50 miles, 100 kilometres away from London. The university specialises in a number of different areas, including things like pharmacy, architecture, engineering, arts, and my own school, which is arts and the School of Humanities. We also have a School of Education, a number of different schools covering a range of different areas. A little bit more useful information, the university focuses on preparing people for careers. It's a very career-orientated university, offering people work experience and training in various professional disciplines.
Good. I heard that the University of Brighton has a TESOL course, and could you explain how the TESOL course is?
It does. It offers MAs in TESOL, and it offers an MA in TESOL with Information and Communications Technologies. The TESOL MA is an MA designed to prepare teachers for the classroom. It has two pathways. One is designed for teachers who have 2 years experience, so that's the post-experience course. And there's also a course, an MA TESOL course. The same course offers a pathway for inexperienced teachers. So if you don't have experience, you can join. The MA with ICT is looking at how technology, new media can be used to support the process of teaching and learning languages. It's a very diverse course in the sense that we have a very wide range of nationalities studying on it. So we already have Korean students, we have students from China, Japan, Vietnam, a lot of European countries, Poland, Italy, and a lot of students from the UK as well.
Good. And then could you share any successful stories of your graduates or current students?
I'll talk particularly about the students from the TESOL course. With the TESOL course, a lot of the students return to schools, but they will tend to return to more senior positions. Those students who are on the inexperienced pathways will find jobs as teachers. Those that have come to us as teachers, as experienced teachers, will be returning to schools to take more senior positions. In fact, some of them will move into managing countries, education in countries, and a lot of them have gone on to work in universities, particularly those teachers who've looked at the use of technology. So I think the students speak very well for the course because they go on to do so well as a result of taking it.
So if you have any advantage, like a great mix of nationality, please mention it as well as your courses.
I think the mix of the students on the course, the mix of different nationalities, is a big factor in what makes the course such a good experience for the students, because they're seeing how the teaching of English is taking place in different countries over the world, different experiences in different contexts, and they're learning things from each other as well as the tutors who are taking the course. I think the standout point of these courses is the use of technology, because technology is becoming more significant in education. Things are changing, and we have looked at the use of technology in language teaching and learning now for about 30 years. We started off looking at video, then we were looking at multimedia, now we're looking at things like the use of telecollaboration, video conferencing, tablet computers, mobile devices. We want to see how these things can support language learning inside and outside class. There are similar courses in the UK, but very, very few. So I think that's what makes this a standout course if you're interested in technology.
Great. Thank you for your answering. Your time. So, Gary. Thank you for the interview. And Gary, what is the best way of improving IELTS score or learning English better?
Okay, well, there were two questions there, and I think they're two different questions.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting that you put the question that way. If you're studying for IELTS, you're studying to take a test, okay, and only to study a test, okay. If you're learning English, you're learning a skill, and hopefully you're learning English in a way that can help you to survive in an HE environment, okay. So I always say the difference is if you're studying for IELTS, you're learning how to swim in a very small pool, and you can stand up at any time. And then when you come to the UK, you're actually being introduced to the ocean, and you've got to swim around in the sea. Okay, so there's a very, very big difference, and I think students need to understand that IELTS is only just the beginning. IELTS will get you in. Then you have to learn and live the experience in the UK.
That is very interesting, and then it's really good answer. I think it's brilliant. And then what is the presessional course, and then who needs to take?
Okay, now the presessional course, as it sounds, is just before the first semester starts, so it could be a 12 or an 8-week or a 4-week course starting at the end of June. It's for students who haven't quite got the IELTS score that they want, and 12 weeks can help them to improve their skills. But it's not just learning how to pass the test. We don't do that. We want to give the students the skills that they need to survive in the UK. It's not just about, it's not so much linguistic, it's more cultural, and it's living the experience and doing study in an HE environment, which IELTS doesn't cover. And so I always say, even if you've got a good IELTS score, please come and do a presessional, because you learn how to research, you learn how to read, and you learn how to study. In IELTS, you're given a question. At a university, you have to create and ask the question. And it's a very, very different world, and students need help in doing that. And that's what we do on a presessional course.
Yeah. So then what is the biggest difference between taking presessional in a university and studying alone in their country, like Korea?
It's cultural. Studying in a university is not something you do alone. You're doing it with other people, you're in seminars, you're in work groups, you're collaborating. So you have to get used to that interaction with your colleagues. It involves the speaking skill and the listening skill to a greater extent, which IELTS doesn't cover. And if you're studying alone, how can you learn those skills? So you need the speaking, the listening skills, and the interaction skills, but also the culture is just so different. So it's not just linguistic, it is cultural, and it's the culture of higher education in the UK that we like to help students with, because I think that's often their greatest difficulty.
It is a pop-up question, and can you mention about the successful story of who become better? Who become having a better ability to study. To speak English.
Okay.
Presessional.
Now the difficulty is when I finish with the students, they go off and do their courses, and I may never see them again. Okay, which is a good thing, because I'm also responsible for in-sessional support in the university. So while students are studying in the university, for different reasons, I provide several different types of courses which can help them for international students. Now the evidence for me is we rarely see anybody who's done a presessional. The students that come to the in-sessional provision are normally direct entry or IELTS students. And that gives me evidence that the presessional has worked, because they've got it and they know it and they're usually okay. And also I do have evidence that from some research that we recently did, that the people who've done the presessional often find themselves helping people who haven't done the presessional, because they know things. And anyone who's done a presessional knows more and has more experience with creating longer texts and working in a library and selectively finding texts than those who have just gone straight into an IELTS.
And so it gives a lot of ideas of the next question's answer. But why is it beneficial to take the presessional course before starting their main courses? Because you mentioned the in-sessional.
Well, another factor that I haven't mentioned is you acclimatise and orientate. You get to know the town, you get to know the university, the building, the campus, you get to know possibly some of your colleagues, some of the lecturers, you get to find your way around, you get used to the food, the weather, the transportation system, living in the UK. All those things will be done before you start your course. And for those students that arrive in the UK on Friday and start their course on Monday, never having been here before, that's a big jump. It's a very big jump.
So when should the student need to decide their mind to apply for the presessional?
Well, I don't think there is an optimum time, apart from just preparing themselves psychologically. You can apply for presessionals in May. The course doesn't start until June. We do have people that jump on at the last minute, especially if their IELTS score is not quite what they wanted. But I think for a lot of students, they can't get the idea into their head. So I would say start thinking about it as early as possible. Think about your studies, think about your strengths and weaknesses, and start thinking, well, perhaps a 12-week or an 8-week, or even the 4-week, which is voluntary. That's for people with an unconditional offer. Start to think that might be a good idea for me, and then you can apply quite close to the start of the course.
Yeah, and then it's another question that you mentioned the voluntary 4 weeks presessional before their unconditional course. And then is it possible to have a joint class?
With the 4-week?
Yeah, with the 4-week and then main courses.
We don't have joint classes, but they are in the same building, they share the same facilities.
Joint classes, with the same visa? They don't need to extend the visa?
I don't know.
I'm thinking about the EMA.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Can you cut that one?
Yeah, sure.
Gary, I'm thinking about the EMA.
Yeah.
I think that's what's being asked about.
For the 4-week?
Yeah.
Because the 4-week isn't the EMA.
But you might want to explain the EMA.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever question
You're saying
you need.
CAS.
CAS. So
Ask me that question again.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
I thought I had class.
No, it was my mistake. So they do mention that it's a 4 weeks voluntary presessional course with main courses with unconditional offer. Then is it possible to issue the class covering the presessional and the main course?
Yep, that's the EMA. Okay, and the EMA course is called an Extended Masters. And it is part of the Master's course. So when you think extended, you normally think about it being extended at the end. But we've done the 12-week or the 8-week or for the EMA are before the course starts, and it is part of your master's degree. Therefore, if you're accepted on the EMA, it is done on one CAS. So it's one Tier 4 visa. We have to make sure, when we let people on, that they are going to be able to pass. Okay? And that's why we offer the test that we do here, to make sure that that person in 12 weeks could reach the standard and get the skills that we require. The presessional course is a separate visa. But the presessional course is normally for undergraduates or for people that are doing courses that aren't provided for by the EMA. I don't know if you know, but the EMA is divided up into areas of study, into different classes. So we have an EMA class for people studying education, linguistics, or TESOL. We have one for the artists and the photographers and the designers. We have another one for the business people and the marketing people. We'd have another one for travel and tourism. We have had another one for social sciences, okay, depending on the student numbers. So when you're on the EMA, you're going to be studying texts and practicing your listening skills and your writing skills with a focus on your particular school or your particular area.
So we need to know more of EMA. So it's slightly different from the presessional course.
Exactly, yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know. So, any other comments you'd like to add?
No. Is there anything else you'd like to know about the EMA? Because was that clear enough for you?
It was really clear.
Okay.
That the point was that usually if the student with unconditional offer who voluntarily is taking the 4 weeks speech and 4 weeks courses, and then always issue of getting one single visa covering the two programs. So it's good to know.
Yeah.
The Brighton has like MR plus main courses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
What I have to mention is that we were inspected by the British Council lately, the department that is involved in English provision, and in that inspection it worked out that we are the #1 provider in the country at the moment. Very small department, and we're very pleased with the result. So if you're coming to do a pre-session in England, you will be taught by a team that has got a very, very high rating with the British Council, the highest.
How long is it for them?
Sorry?
How long? How many weeks is for them?
12 weeks or 8 weeks.
Oh, so 2 options.
2 options, and that depends on the level.
Which is cool.
Yeah. But I would say that even if someone's got an IELTS 6 or even a 6.5, if they came on a 12-week or the 8-week course, they would learn a lot.
Okay, good. Thank you. So
Thank you.
I'm going to finish.
Can I do
Please.
2 questions again?
Yeah.
Because I think I mixed things together there. I think there's an issue about why. I think there's a question about what can you do at the University of Brighton and why would you go there? And then there's an issue about why would you want to study at Brighton? And I think I may have mixed those 2 together. I don't know. And it might be easier for potential people watching the video if I separated those 2 blocks out. Did you notice that?
I noticed it.
I said a lot of things in the first go.
It was all good stuff though, but if you want to separate it out,
Yeah.
And I also wondered whether what you've just said about the UBLI might be best prefixed with a question like, why would you want to study there? Why would you want to study with the UBLI?
For you? Or
For Gary?
Yeah.
Just
Good
to
point.
have that question
Do you
leading
mind?
in, because
Yeah.
what you said was really
I don't
important,
mind.
Yeah.
and I wasn't
and
necessarily...
I just came up with that for my own statement.
Yeah.
Maybe you should be prompting me for
Yeah.
that.
So,
Why should we study at your university?
Well, why
Well,
should
I'll
you study?
tell you.
Why should you study at the
Yeah.
University of
Yeah.
Brighton Language Institute?
Yeah. Why do students need to study in the University of Brighton Institute? Language Institute?
Oh, the University of Brighton Language Institute. Well, I have to say that we were recently inspected by the British Council. We've been validated by the British Council for several years now. This is our 5th inspection. And on this occasion, we were... I'm going to have to start again.
Yeah. So why the student needs to study in the University of Brighton Language Institution?
Okay, well, we've been running for over 30 years. We've got very, very experienced teachers. They're very, very qualified teachers. Nobody has less than a master's degree. All of my colleagues have at least 10 years experience in teaching EAP. But recently we had our British Council validation renewed, and after the inspection it was deemed that we were the #1 provider in the UK amongst all the universities. Something we're very proud of and something we expect to keep hold of. So if you do come and study at the UBLI, you'll be taught by people that have been rated very, very highly.
Yes, it's true.
Don't do the eye dash there. You need to cut that one out.
I will.
So for me, if you could do 2 questions, one would be, what can you study at the University of Brighton? Why would you want to study there? And then, why would you want to go to Brighton rather than somewhere else? I think 2 separate questions.
So why would you like to study in the University of Brighton?
I think that the University of Brighton offers a very interesting and diverse range of courses. The courses have a strong career orientation. So there are courses that relate to electrical engineering, courses that relate to pharmaceuticals, courses that relate in my area to English language teaching or to teaching in general. So the university is particularly strong on those career-orientated courses, offering things like work placements. I think if you're interested in that sort of area, you should be looking at the University of Brighton. And you should be looking if you're interested in arts, because there's a very strong arts program. And there's also a very strong humanities program as well. So an interesting range of courses. The University of Brighton also has a very exciting and dynamic cohort of students. We have 3,000 international students. So it's an opportunity, if you study at the University of Brighton, to meet an interesting group of students. Staff and students range from across 150 different countries. So you have an opportunity to experience people from lots of different places. So there's an energy and vitality in the university that makes it worth studying at.
And why should the students need to or are supposed to go for the University of Brighton?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that question.
Yeah, why the student?
Or do you want to ask me about Brighton, the town?
The town.
Yeah. How was that?
Camera nerves.
Yes. So why the student wants to choose the Brighton as their city?
I think I think it's a good question, and there are lots of reasons to choose Brighton. Brighton it's a wonderful place to live. It was just a few years ago voted the city with the best quality of life in the British Isles. It's warm-ish, not all year. It's next to the sea, and there's just an incredible atmosphere there. It's a very tolerant place. It's a very dynamic place. It has Europe's second largest arts festival. It's an exciting place to be, and I heartily recommend it. Lots of variety, lots of interesting small-scale traditional English shops that you'll find in various parts of the town. Lots of restaurants. It's a very student-orientated town. In terms of percentage, it has the largest percentage of students in any town in the country apart from Oxford and Cambridge. It's fun, and fun's important.
Yeah. So I think it's the end of our interview. So thank you for participating.
Thank you for inviting us.